In a small, drafty apartment in the heart of a bustling city lived Della and Jim. They didn't have much money, only a few coins saved in a jar, but they had a wealth of love for each other. With Christmas only a day away, Della sat at her small wooden table, counting her savings over and over. $1.87, she whispered. That is all. She wanted so badly to buy Jim something worthy of him, something fine and rare. Della stood and walked to the tall, thin mirror between the windows. She let down her hair, and it fell about her like a shimmering cascade of brown silk. It reached below her knees and was her most prized possession. Jim had a treasure of his own, a gold pocket watch that had belonged to his father and his grandfather before him. Della looked at her reflection, a brave tear falling from her eye as a sudden, selfless idea took hold. Della put on her old brown jacket and hurried out into the cold. She stopped at a shop with a sign that read, Madame Sofronie, hair goods of all kinds. Della climbed the stairs, her heart racing. Inside, a stern-looking woman looked up from her work. Will you buy my hair? Della asked. Madame Sofronie lifted the heavy mass of silk. $20, she said bluntly. 2 hours later, Della was tripping through the stores, the $20 burning a hole in her pocket. She found it at last, a platinum fob chain, simple and chaste in design. It was perfect for Jim's watch. It was like Jim himself, quietness and value. She paid $21 for it and hurried home with the remaining 87 cents, feeling a joyful glow despite the cold wind. Meanwhile, across town, Jim stood outside a jeweler's shop. He looked at his beautiful gold watch, then back at the window where a set of pure tortoiseshell combs sparkled. They were the exact combs Della had worshipped in a shop window for months, beautiful combs with jeweled rims, just the right shade to wear in her long brown hair. He walked inside and spoke to the jeweler. Silas, I wish to sell my watch, Jim said softly. Jim walked out of the shop with a small, beautifully wrapped package. He no longer had his watch, but he had the combs. He knew how Della's eyes would shine when she saw them. He didn't care about the empty pocket where his watch used to rest. He only thought of the look on his wife's face on Christmas Eve. He hurried home through the falling snow, his heart light with anticipation. Back at the apartment, Della was busy with her curling irons. She looked at her reflection and felt a sudden pang of fear. Her head was covered in tiny, close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a schoolboy. Please, God, make him think I am still pretty, she whispered. She heard Jim's step on the stairs, and she turned pale for just a moment, standing by the door with the platinum chain hidden in her hand. The door opened and Jim stepped in. He stopped as still as a setter at the scent of a quail. His eyes were fixed upon Della, and there was an expression in them that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was not anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval. He simply stared at her with a strange, haunted look. Della jumped off the table and ran to him. Jim, darling, she cried, don't look at me that way. I had my hair cut off and sold it, Della explained quickly. I couldn't have lived through Christmas without giving you a gift. It'll grow out again. You won't mind, will you? I just had to do it. Jim seemed to wake from his trance. He folded Della in his arms. Then he drew a package from his overcoat pocket and threw it upon the table. I don't think any haircut could make me love you any less, he said. Della's white fingers quickly tore at the string and paper. Then a scream of joy followed by a quick feminine change to tears. For there lay the combs, the set of combs that she had worshipped in the window. They were expensive combs, she knew, and her heart had simply craved them without the least hope of possession. And now, they were hers, but the tresses that should have invited their beauty were gone. She hugged them to her chest and looked up with dim eyes. My hair grows so fast, Jim, she promised. Then she jumped up like a little singed cat and cried, "Oh, oh!" She had forgotten his beautiful present. She held it out to him upon her open palm. The dull, precious metal seemed to flash with a reflection of her bright spirit. "Isn't it a dandy, Jim? I hunted all over town to find it. Give me your watch. I want to see how it looks on it." Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled. "Dell," said he, "let's put our Christmas gifts away and keep 'em a while. They're too nice to use just at present. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your combs." They sat together in the quiet room, two foolish children who had sacrificed for each other their greatest treasures. But of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are the wisest. They are the Magi.